Hello everyone, Minkey here with the next part of Let's ASP Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Today is the 19th of September 2025, just for reference. So, since last time, I've done quite a bit since last time, if you will, and I say quite a bit, but it's not an awful lot, but right now, this is my team on this file, if you will. Not really changed all that much. I've trained up these two at least a little bit for this battle, so hopefully I'm fine for this battle, but I'm not entirely sure if I will be, to be completely honest, so just hopefully I am. But here's Barry, and we got to battle him again, so yeah, hopefully we can be fine with this. So yeah, I'm not too sure because, I checked his file, I checked his team even. And I need to up the sound, so give me a second. Or don't give me a second, I guess. Let me finish the animation first, then. See what pops up, if you will. Alright, there we go. Alright, now, this should be fine, hopefully. Considering his Starly is going to be weak to Thundershock. Okay, nice. So yeah, that's obviously starting it off, so that's very nice. And yeah, I made sure to get the Magikarp as well. For some reason, that didn't save last time. I'm not sure why. Maybe I just forgot or something. I'm not entirely sure, but oh well, I still got them back again. So I think I even got them from the same place as well. So let me have a look. Actually, let me check them out. Route 204. Yeah, I think that's north, isn't it? Yeah, it would have to be. Yeah. So, yeah, okay, that's fine. And yeah, obviously, I can't really use Turtwig here because they're going to be weak to Chimchar. They should have Ember at this point. So, yeah. But, Shinx with Thundershock should be fine. Of course, if they don't get pummeled by these physical defense being lowered. So hopefully we're fine. This could be a bit tight. Yeah, unless you one-shot me. Oh wow, it only needs a third of the damage. Wow. Nice. Okay, maybe I overtrained a little bit then. So yeah, that's fine then. We defeated Barry. So, I don't know. So, yeah, that's the last time I'll ever lose. First thing to do is take on the Ouroboros City Pokemon Gym. I'm going to toughen up for that totally. Alright? Well, so one thing to point out now then, now that we've done that, is that we have a new area to basically explore, right? So, obviously, we've got new Pokemon to catch and whatnot as well. So at this point, we obviously continue on and just figure out what we can get, if you will, see if we can catch anything, because I do want to have at least 6 team members before we go on to the next area, and start training up and whatnot, because at this point it's like, I kind of just got to focus on training and whatnot, and, well, not training, but, I want to focus on, actually getting some Pokemon and whatnot. So, yeah, we're going to focus on that. I think there's something new here we can get. I'm not entirely sure, but surely. Oh, okay, nice. We got an Abra. Let's just hopefully catch this guy then. So, the reason why it had a little cutscene as well, where you saw your trainer straight away like that, if you will. I think it's because this Abra specifically has 2 really good IVs or something like that. I'm not sure, but I think that's what that implies, if you will. So, and I'm glad I caught them because not just for that whole IV thing or whatever, assuming that they are really good, or maybe best. They might be best, I'm not sure. I can't really check at the moment. But also that Abra is obviously known for teleporting away, so, I'm not giving him a nickname. So, yeah, because I'm not giving him a nickname just yet, because obviously I don't know I don't know if what to go with for your yet. Hardy nature, so that's neutral as well, and inner focus. Okay, that kind of sucks. Well, because like if they had synchronize, then I could then start using synchronize on Pokemon and whatnot. You know, getting the same nature, if you will, from people, from one Pokemon if I wanted to, but nah, I can't, unfortunately. Not with this Abra anyway, so kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So, like, obviously as well, now that we've got 6 Pokemon, I can just go ahead and train up and whatever, it's fine, you know. This Abra as well, like, the fact that we have this Abra is only really good if you're doing like an ASP area run, because in an ASP boss run and an ASP unit run, like what we're doing now, they would still get us to Orba City, Orba Town. You know, they would get us to the next town still, and there's actually a trade there where you can trade your Machop for an Abra, meaning that this Abra, this Abra is kind of like it's not like necessary to catch in an ASP boss or unit run, but they would be necessary to catch in an area run, since this route would be the next area, if you will. You know, like you would have to do this area before Orba, so there is that. However, at the same time, that Abra that you catch, not the Abra you catch, the Abra that you trade for, that Abra does, obviously they're traded. Now that doesn't mean that they evolve into Alakazam, unfortunately. That's not like how that works, unfortunately. But what it does mean is that, it does mean that they gain extra experience points. So, you know, they are a bit like that. You know, they gain a benefit at least. So at least there's some benefit to getting them over a wild Abra. So, in a sense, an area run, yeah, you would have to catch the Abra and evolve them into Kadabra. But you obviously can't evolve them into Alakazam, unfortunately, unless you had like a P1 situation or sort of thing, you know, that kind of thing. And then, which I explained last time, by the way, about Sword Shield. I might have to go over that with traded Pokemon as well or something. I might have to add about that. But like in this case, you know, with Kadabra and whatnot, like in this case, in an ACP area run, you have to get them in this route because you need to obviously get them for the Dex. That's the whole point, and you need to get Kadabra as well. You need to evolve them as well because again, that's the whole point, you know. But when it comes to the ASP area, ASP boss and unit runs, not the area one, but the boss and unit versions, you can wait until Orba and then get that one through the trade, and then when you've got that through the trade, you can then just use that one to evolve and whatnot. It's much easier. So, you know, it's especially since they gain experience faster as well. So, you know, it's probably better to wait until you get that one and save your Pokeballs or whatever. You know, but obviously I'm just catching them anyway because one, I got a seemingly better version of one anyway, and two, like, I mean, I want 6 Pokemon in my team anyway, you know, for the experience share and whatever, so I'm pretty sure there are other Pokemon that we can catch as well at this point, so I should be fine to have just gone to someone else instead anyway. But at the same time, you know, I'd obviously rather, I mean, do we have Kricketot yet? We don't, so yeah, there's definitely at least 6 Pokemon you can get at this point, even before you enter this route, because I know you can get Kricketot in Route 201, so there's at least that, you know, you could have gotten a Kricketot, although I think they are time-based, Kricketot is, I'm not entirely sure about that, but obviously that's still a Pokemon you can still get, so, yeah, there is that, so, you know, kind of a picky poison, I guess, but, you know, it is what it is, I guess. And obviously this one is also locked behind the fact that this route, anyway, is locked behind that Barry battle, so, yeah, you kind of have to stick with that one, unfortunately. Oh, Budew. Oh, jeez. I don't want to look at the moves. Why am I looking at the moves? That's weird. But yeah, you know what, now that I think about it, we might actually be able to get Budew as well, now that I think about it. Because we can go north of Jubilife, and we should be able to get Budew there as well, right? Surely. I don't remember. I'll have to check that, I guess. In fact, I guess we can check that now, actually, with the Pokédex. Although I don't know if there's like specific areas, like if it would like say like, oh, you're gonna do it in upper Route 204 or whatever. You know, so I don't know, where's Budew then? Actually, let's look at Kritatot first, actually, real quick. Alright, so you can get Kritatot here, but more importantly, you can get them here. Okay, so you can't get them during the day, but you can get them during the night, and you can get them during the day, during the morning as well. So it looks like the same areas as well. Okay, so yeah, it's basically the same areas. The only different areas, so they don't spawn during the day at all, right? And during the night versus the morning, the only benefit is in the morning where they spawn here as well. But that's completely irrelevant to an ASP run because you would want to get them here anyway. In most ASP runs, I mean, you would have to get them here anyway in an ASP area run. In an ASP boss run, you would want to get them. You would want to get them either here or here. And in an ASP unit run, you can probably get them here as well. I'm not entirely sure. Because like there's obviously like some rock smash shenanigans you have to do, but you know, so this area and even this area where they're here during both morning and night, this is completely irrelevant, unfortunately. Actually, maybe you can still go there. Actually, in that Orbit area, maybe I'm not sure, but we'll have to get there first, of course. So yeah, we can get Budew here. I think this is the only place to. Oh, they spawn here as well. During the morning anyway. Okay, looks like they always spawn in the same areas regardless. Oh, you can check caves as well. Okay, I didn't even think of that. Nice. Well, I say caves, but like I guess this area is a ton of forest. So yeah, that's got to be it. Yeah, and then this. What's this area? I can't even remember. Oh, that's got to be the Great Marsh. Yeah, the Safari Zone basically. So, yeah, we could probably get Budew then and for our team. That'd be pretty nice. Maybe I'll get him for one of these files. Maybe I should get him for this file, actually, because I have Turtwig. But I'm not going to be using Turtwig as part of the team. So, you know, that'd be nice. But not for right now. Who else do I want to use? Do I actually want to use any of these team members? Probably not, to be honest, but maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe I should keep the Abra, though. I'm not sure. I won't be able to trade them, of course, but I can at least use home to send them to another file. Because the nice thing is that if you can send these to Pokemon Sword and Shield, you can't trade them over. You have to use home. And as far as I'm aware as well, you can't give an Everstone to Kadabra and keep them unevolved. It's really weird because Kadabra seems to be the only Pokemon, the only trade evolution who will still evolve via trading if you give them an Everstone. Despite it never working for anyone else. Not even for Shelmet and Carablast. Because apparently, so Shelmet and Carablast, they are trade evolutions, right? They're both trade evolutions, but only if you trade them for each other, right? So it's got to be Shelmet for Carablast and Carablast for Shelmet. So you can't trade Shelmet for Shelmet or Carablast for Carablast. It's got to be both, if you will, and they'll both evolve. But if you give an Everstone to one of them, apparently neither of them will evolve. So... But in this case with Abra, when you trade a Kadabra over to someone, apparently they'll still evolve even if they have an Everstone attached, which shouldn't work, you know. Whereas with everyone else, you know, Haunter, you know, McShoke, you know, Haunter, you know, it doesn't work. You know, they don't evolve if you trade them with an Everstone, you know. And obviously you got Pokemon like Onyx or Cypher or, you know, Poliwhirl who evolve by trading with a specific item like a King's Rock or Metal Coat. Obviously in those cases, they don't evolve anyway without the item, so it wouldn't make a difference if you equip an Everstone or an Oranberry or nothing, if you will. yeah, you need to make sure to trade over, like, you know, an actual item with them, if you will, you know, but in that case, that's not even an ATP run, or, I mean, it is, but if you've got to be a P1 version or whatever, you know, kind of thing, player one, you know, like, as in one additional player, so, you know. So yeah, that is all that. Alright, McSharp. Actually, that's actually really good for this battle, for this gym battle coming up. So yeah, you should be good. Level 7, I mean, okay, maybe not, but maybe train up a little bit, but, you know. So yeah, I guess I'll get Budew then. Maybe I'll get Budew and then I'll try and train him up a little bit in this file or something, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll even get, like, what do you call it? Like, maybe I'll get the Budew and I'll train up the Abra and Budew to a degree, you know, that kind of thing. That'd be nice. Alright, I guess I'll... Actually, no, I'm going to save you for next time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and find a Budew, because I really want to get one for this team. Because with Shining Pearl, I already have a team member on my team planned, so, you know. But on this file, I don't really have anyone other than maybe Shinx or Starly, I guess. Or I guess there's Abra as well. You know, I guess I could use them if I really wanted to. You know, I'll probably keep Teleport as well, just for the sake of argument. But let's have a look. Let's see if we can find a Budew in here. That'd be really nice if I could. Especially if they're our first spawn as well. Well, which obviously they weren't, you know. But let me have a look. Let's see how common they are. Okay, so yeah, they should be here. They should be all over the place then. Wait, are they here all the time? I think I said they did, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's morning or day. At the moment, it's 8:14 AM. At the minute, so yeah, I'll have to look, see if you will. Hopefully, we find something then. That'd be nice, you know. And I gotta get like, cause like, I mean, at least I've got Abra. You know, worst case scenario, at least I've got Abra. You know, the thing is what though, I've got to come up with like a team. Like, I've actually got to come up with like an actual team of Pokemon. You know, for these files, if you will. I've got to come up with something of a team, if you will, and I've got to remember my Fault Swipe Pokemon as well, so I guess if anything, we are coming up to something of a team, if you will, with this Abra and whatnot. Like, I've already decided my Fault Swipe users, you know, my catcher Pokemon, so it's just a matter of, like, determining whether or not they're good enough with the rest of the team, or, if you will, or, like, build a team kind of around them, if you will, you know, and that's even if I decide to make different, like, if I go with different catcher builds on all the files, or if I just go with a Gallade in all 5 games, you know, because, to be fair, a Gallade in all 5 games, you know, at least that's something decent, if you will, in this case. You know, it might be a while before I can get them, but, you know, it is what it is, you know. Just makes things easy, you know. Yeah, it's just one of those things, if you will. I mean, I don't even know if Budew would be good in this file or not, for given the Fault Swipe user I'm going for, if you will. Because I can't even remember what Fault Swipe user I'm even going for anyway, in this game. I think I went with something of an idea or something. The only one I know off by heart is the one I'm using on Lessons Arceus. They're the only one I know off by heart, so... You know. But you know, it is what it is. I mean, okay, I'll give it one more encounter out of this Budew, and if I don't find it, I'll just skip to Shining Pearl, just for the sake of argument. Because I want to at least show something off, you know? Something more off, if you will, or at least the Barry fight in that file anyway. Nice. See, if you're in a time crunch, just threaten to swap to a different file and they'll spawn for you. Nice. Stun Spore. Alright, nice. Alright, hopefully this catches. I guess it's also the kind of Pokemon I want to use as well. Which that's something I gotta consider. I mean, I guess if anything I could like breed them or something. That's a possibility, I guess. That's always a possibility, because at least in this case we've proven that we can get Budew. So if anything, you know, I could just get that version, if you will. Let's see what you have. Mild, what's that do? Special attack for physical defense, okay, nice. And poison point, okay, wow. Absorb, growth, sunspawn, water seed, okay, nice. And new to the team. So yeah, I guess there is that as well, the whole idea of like, you know, like reading some good moves onto them or something. I guess I could do that, you know, and just like also try and get a good Pokeball on them as well, because like sometimes like, obviously like, you know, I like to have them look nice, if you will, in the kind of Pokeballs that they're in. So, you know, but that's the story for another day, I guess. Alright, let me save in a good spot. Alright, well, yeah, on that note, so let's swap over to Shining Pearl then, and then see what we can do in there then. So yeah, see you in a second. Alright, here we are. I can't even remember when I last recorded, to be honest. I think I recorded both parts in June for all 3 Let's Plays, but the interval video for Sword and Shield was 7th of July. Right, but yeah, obviously Barrier Battle again. I just thought I could have gone for a Budew on this file, and then I would have had a full team of 6. Oh well, never mind, I guess. Probably would have taken me a moment to get them anyway. But yeah, obviously in this case I've got Shinx again, so obviously this will be easy. Or at least it should be easy anyway. Easy win. And then I did pick Piplup on this file, so therefore he's going to have Turtwig instead. And Piplup is actually going to be my team member in this file, so there is that as well. So there is that to wonder about, if you will, or whatever. And yeah, obviously because he picked Turtwig, I've raised up my Starly a bit so that I've actually got a type advantage against the Turtwig as well, so that's really nice. So yeah, it's really good. Easy battle, if you will, for the most part. Only 6 damage this time. Didn't he do like 9 damage in the previous battle? Because he leered like twice. I don't remember, man. But yeah, like I want to do something like this more often. You know, where I tackle this kind of stuff, if you will. Now, something else I probably should mention as well is that because I'm doing these ASP runs together and whatnot, obviously we know that Budew is in both games. You know, they're not like conversion exclusive, so we can go ahead and just get Budew now. But what else to say is that like you could get like a Budew, you could get that because I'm doing both together and it's not like conversion exclusive or anything. And it's not, this isn't a player one, you know, a P1 kind of situation, but what you could do is like you could get, oh, you can get Kricketot. Okay, nice. Guess I got you then. In fact, I think Kricketot was one of my thought swipers that I planned on. But like, because we know that we can get Kricketot this early in both games, and also because we know that we can get Budew in both games as well, what we could do in this case is we can just get like, you know, we can get the one Budew and then transfer it between both files or whatever, or trade it between both files. You've got to be careful about Pokemon like Haunter and Graveler and whatnot about trade evolutions, and even Onix as well. You can't like trade over a Metal Coat with them because obviously then it will evolve them, you know. like if you wanted to trade over items as well, but you know. But obviously, in this case, we can't just do that because, like, it's not that big of a deal in this case, you know. Like, as long as we're doing, like, if anything, like, the only thing I'm really doing in these ACP runs, in these ones, is just, like, if anything, the worst I'll do is either transferring Pokemon between each game that they can be caught in. So I won't do, for instance, exclusives or starters, for example. Or what I'll do is I'll transfer these over to Sword and Shield, and then in Sword and Shield I'll EV train them and whatnot, that kind of thing, and then I'll move them over back to these files where I then train them up proper and whatnot and such. And it's just I'm trying to get good EVs and good natures on them and whatnot, if you will. You know, as long as I'm not breaking the core rules, if you will, as long as I'm not getting Pokemon that I'm not supposed to have yet, or anything like that, and also preferably I'm getting the Pokemon myself as well, first. That's all well and good, you know. Because for the most part, these 5 LPs, or these 5 ACP runs, these 3 Elapsed players, are specifically more so for the Pokédexes of Pokemon Home, as I'm trying to fill out the dexes of those, if you will. So, you know, I'm trying to do that kind of thing. So there is that. But otherwise, you know, that's do I have a starter yet? I do. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna catch them. I don't really have much reason to. I'd rather use the Pokeballs up properly. You know, because I could catch them. Really, a critical hit at this point. Like, I could catch the Starly for, like, a Wonder Trade or something, but I'd rather not, because that's not really going to get me anything in this case, you know? At least on the file, anyway, because, like, on this file, I actually want to keep up my Pokeballs and whatnot. There's no, like... You've got to be careful about items and whatnot in this file, because you don't want to, like, waste too much money, if you will. Because I don't know if there's any way to, like, grind money or anything properly yet, if you will. You know, other than, like, I guess trading over nuggets or other items, you know, that sell for a lot. So, you know. Now, I did find an Abra here last time in Brilliant Diamond, obviously, like I said. But, like I was saying earlier, you can just get... there's a trade at Norba where you can get... You know, an Abra from a shop, right? Which makes catching them a lot easier. Not really catching, but you know what I mean. It makes getting the Abra a lot easier, because then it just means you have to, you know, catch 2 McShops. That's it. Rather than catching a McShop and an Abra, because you'll still need to evolve 1 McShop to get McChoke. Instead of catching 2 McShop, 1 McShop and 1 Abra, you can instead just catch 2 McShops, which are going to be a lot easier for you to get, because at least you can weaken them and not have to worry about them disappearing on you, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, that's pretty nice in that case, but, you know. But right now I'm trying to get a Budew, which, to be fair, not a Budew, sorry, a Budew, which, to be fair, like I said, I can just get a Budew on the other file anyway, you know, or something, or I could just breed them or something, you know, because at the end of the day, in this case, you know, it's like I said, I can just trade them over and whatnot, it's fine. So I don't need to worry too much about that kind of thing here, you know. But I might try and, like, breed some really good Pokemon here or something. Maybe in all-in Pokeballs, or maybe in, like, regular Pokeballs, or preferably in nice-looking Pokeballs, like maybe a Safari Ball for Budew, for example, or something, you know. That would be nice. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is whatever, you know. I'll go for whatever I can really do at the time. Because obviously you've got Piplup as well. You've got to worry about that kind of thing. Because I think you can get not Budew. I mean, I know you can get Budew in other kinds of Pokeballs, but I think you can kind of do the same with Piplup, I guess. Which I can get on this file, the Shining Pearl file, but I can't get them on, I can't get Piplup on Brilliant Diamond because I got Turtwig on that file. And I'm not really going to bother about Turtwig because I'm not going to use them. You know, I'm still going to afford them because I have to, but I'm not going to consider them a part of the team, if you will, because, Well, they're just not, if you will, at the end of the day. I'm not going for them. You know. Hey, it's Budew, nice. Yeah, they do seem kind of rare. So, you know. Right, hopefully this is fine. Level 11, hopefully this is fine. Because it's a stab as well, but it's not very effective. So, okay, I think that should be fine, hopefully. Hopefully one more Thunderstruck should be fine. Pity didn't have any defensive moves, but oh well. It's what it is, I guess. Alright, nice. Worry Seed. In fact, actually, what is my ability normally? Rivalry. Doesn't Rivalry, like... Oh, okay, I think Rivalry actually helped. I think. Yeah, Rivalry becomes competitive and deals more damage to Pokemon of the same gender, but deals less to the Pokemon of the opposite gender. Okay, so wow, I actually had an ability that hurt me in this case, because they're both male, but in this case, then I also had a... But then it still helped out because it was fine, so... I don't know, man, it was really good. Yeah, nice, caught Budew. Very nice. Alright. They live alongside a clear pond. They scatter pollen that induce harsh sneezing and runny noses. Yeah, let's see what it's about. Lax. Okay, physical defense for special defense. Okay, that's not too bad, I guess. You do look like more of a modest Pokemon, but I don't know, man. Could just be bad Ivies or something. I don't know. But I don't know, let's go back here and then train up a little bit and just do a bit of shenanigans over here then. These have got a full team, so yeah, it's fine. But yeah, I'm going to try and record this a bit more commonly, if you will, or something. I don't know, man. Like, I want to at least show off the Pokemon on screen as well. Like, I want to show off evolutions on screen. So whenever my Budew evolves, I'm going to show them off or whatever. And the nice thing as well is that, like, from the sounds of it, because when I was training up a Turtwig, you know, a set of starters earlier, if you will, I decided to keep my Chimchar unevolved for a little bit. I think it was Chimchar who evolved first. Well, not Chimchar, Monferno. I think it was them who evolved first, out of the 3 middle evolutions of these 3 starters. But, like, I think in this generation, if a Pokemon can evolve, but they don't yet, like if you get like a level 23 Magikarp, they will gain more experience points than what they normally should, simply because they should be evolved, if you will. Well, not should be, but you know what I mean. They're capable of evolution now, so therefore they get like a boost of experience points. So in that case, that actually benefits me a little bit when I'm training up my Pokemon, because it means if I keep them unevolved, yeah, I won't get a stat boost or anything, but at least I'll get like an XP boost, which will be fine. Like, because I'll still get a stat boost anyway from level ups as well, just not as much as one as if I evolved as well. So yeah, it's really nice. Another thing I could do as well, actually, now I think about it, is that I have a file that has like a bunch of amulet coins and whatnot on it, and nuggets and such, you know. So I could trade over those items to these 2 games, if you will, if I wanted to. Same with you know, Sword and Shield and Lesser Arceus as well. Well, maybe not really Lesser Arceus, because you can't really trade items over, but you can at least do that for Sword and Shield and for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. So I might actually see about doing that, you know, just to ensure that I've got extra money or something, you know. Because items, like, I mean, getting a metal coat to evolve an Onix, that's breaking the rules. Getting a metal coat to boost steel type moves, though, isn't breaking the rules. So, there is that, if you will. But, as soon as you do get a metal coat, and assuming you're allowing trading for helping with the dex, if you will, assuming you're allowing that, then you can say, like, okay, well, I've got an Onix, I've got a metal coat. Well, you still have to wait until you get an Onix and a metal coat, or a Cypher and a metal coat, in order to evolve them. That would be a better example, actually, Cypher, because Onix, you can actually catch Steelix in this game. But Cypher and Scizor, I don't think you can ever catch Scizor, at least not in BDSP anyway. So, obviously, if you get Cypher and a Metal Coat, well, you can't get Scissor until you get both Cypher and the Metal Coat, and it has to be a P1 game or a P2 game or a P1 or more game. It can't be a P0 game like these LPs are. But you can trade over items like amulet coins and whatnot, because they're not going to help you in terms of like, they're not gonna be so bad that you end up failing an ATP run for it, if you will. I don't think so anyway. You'd have to suck really bad in order to fail an ATP run due to a lack of Pokeballs or whatever. And even then, they usually have ways of getting more money anyway. Like even Generation 1, at least have some sort of way to get you more Pokeballs, if you will. Like I think Pokemon Red is probably the worst offender of it, because Pokemon Red, you don't have any Meowth, if you will. Like, you don't have Meowth, and there's one paid ATM, right? But if you get rid of that paid ATM, and you have no Meowth or anything that has payday, then you have to rely on either the trainers, if you will, to battle. And if you're locked out of that until you beat the next gym, then, you kind of failed an ASAP run, which, I mean, to be fair, that might be like, that's more like one of those things where it's like, sure, it's like, it's funny in a way, and it's like, kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you fail an ASAP run, that's like an achievement in and of itself, but it's not one you'd really want to go ahead and try to achieve outside of like a meme, if you will, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I'm not saying don't do it if you want to, do it, I guess, at the end of the day, whatever, it's your life, you get to choose to do it if you want to. I'm not going to say don't do it, if you will, but it's just one of those things where it's like, at the end of the day, it is just like a meme kind of run, if you will. So, I mean, to be fair as well, though, like, you can find really odd things in, like, the weirdest of places sometimes. Like, you can find really odd things, like, there was that one time when a fish was playing, like, Pokemon Generation 3, and they were using the strength puzzle or whatever, and they somehow glitched the strength puzzle somehow, right? And it's like, and they, that was a really weird thing that they found, if you will. And personally, like, I mean, I always thought that was already found, to be honest. I just never tried it myself, because I figured, like, I knew, like, I saw a video before about strength puzzles and whatever, and how weird they can get, and I figured, like, oh, people are bound to look into that, so I'm not going to bother, because probably someone else has done it already. And it's like, no, you just wait for a fish to do it for some reason. It's like, why didn't anyone else look into this? So I'm not having a go, obviously. I mean, if people didn't think to look into it, I guess, I don't know, people sometimes don't make the connection. Because there's another time when, like, there was this wrong warp glitch in Ocarina of Time that someone found, and they tried, like, I can't remember which dungeons they checked, but they checked the temples in Ocarina of Time, and they didn't check the fire temple, right? I remember specifically, they did not check the fire temple, which, like, okay, and they just came to the conclusion that, okay, it doesn't matter, it doesn't mean anything then. Which I don't think is a good mentality to have in that case, because obviously someone else tried the fire temple, and there was something. And it was because, obviously, in Ocarina of Time, the reason why the fire temple works, but none of the other temples work, or the dungeons anyway, the Adult Link dungeons, is because the fire temple has like a cutscene before the medallion acceptance scene, it has that. Whereas the other 4 dungeons, the other 4 temples, they jump straight to the medallion acceptance cutscene. So that's why the fire temple worked. And even then, like, you can get other things as well where, like, certain things are possible and whatnot. But for me, I was thinking, like, the way I was looking at it, which I guess is the wrong way to look at it, is like, I was looking at, like, like, the strength puzzle in that area, the Team Aqua base, I think, or maybe the Team Magma base or whatever. I was looking at that and thinking, like, someone's bound to have looked into this already, and the fact that it's not been mentioned really that often or whatever probably means there's nothing to it. And then obviously I was proven wrong when everyone was saying, like, oh, hey, here, there's so something is here, and the fish found it, which, You know, it kind of sucks in a way that I could have found that myself, but I didn't bother, you know, like that. So I wish I did check it out, but well, a bit late now, I guess. If I ever find anything outside that, I'll be sure to check it out, though. So, you know, but it's like I said, like I was saying, you know, this kind of stuff is really good because, like, obviously, like, it teaches you about games and whatnot. Stuff that you probably wouldn't have found out otherwise, if you will. Like, even with ASP runs, you know. Which, to be fair, like, another thing as well, another example I can give with Ocarina of Time, is that I already knew that you could get the big one sword in Ocarina of Time before you even take on any of the dungeons, like, before you even step foot in any of the dungeons. You know, I already knew that, you know. But probably not everyone's going to know about that. Probably people are going to think like maybe not or something, or maybe you need to do something else or some other thing. Or maybe they'll even think of something that's clearly not true if you just check it out, if you will. You know, something that's clearly not true and just think like, oh, you can't get it yet because you need to do this other arbitrary thing that in retrospect doesn't even make any sense when you think about it, you know. So yeah, there is that as well, you know. Alright, well, that is the end of the video. So, I hope you enjoyed this extra long part. You know, I'm going to try and do longer parts for this series. So, you know, I hope you look forward to that. And, yeah, on a note, thank you so much for watching. And putting up with me for another nearly 45 minutes in terms of the recording. And, yeah, I'll see you next time. Have a minky day, everyone.